or don't do with it is none of your business.
Yeah, I know that.
No, you don't.
So go watch that video. That's Bashar. He's talking about how, you know, if you're teaching people or whatever, you're giving people advice, whatever they do with it is none of your business. And this is the thing about Bashar that's a little hard to understand, that I've been told about him. Again, Bashar is different than Daryl. Daryl is his personality is completely different from Bashar's. That's how you know he's like, it's, anyway. Bashar comes from the 12th dimension where emotions aren't useful. We do evolve out of emotions, I've been told. And so that's why he has kind of this callous, kind of like cold way of speaking. However, it's effective. It gets into the brain and the neural pathways, but it puts up the defenses. And so, you know, there is nuance to what he is saying. So yes, it is like, you don't concern yourself, that what he was saying is don't concern yourself with, again, the way that people respond to you, basically. And that's it. And period, end of story. And it's like the thing that he fails to mention is that we need a lot of rewiring and rationalization in order to get to that mindset. Because I'm finally at that mindset for the first time in my life as a chronic people pleaser, of not giving a fuck what people think about me or what they have to say about me, especially in the extreme amount of like kind of wackiness I'm in these days. And I've had to rationalize my way to that point. I've had to rewire my brain to that point. And, you know, there's many, many things that I use. Well, they're younger souls. We clearly can see they don't know what they're talking about and they don't know what they're doing. They clearly keep leading us all back into the same neural pathways and the same reality in which we exist in, which is what we're trying to change. So I'm not going to concern myself with people who aren't trying to change when I'm trying to change. You know, but again, that goes against our biology. It goes against everything that makes us human, because we want to connect, we want to feel love, we want to feel accepted. And we need that for survival. So it's not even like just a want, but it is also a need. And so, especially when it comes to family, and you've been around your family, you know what I'm saying? Because your nervous system has been conditioned next to theirs. And so it's like this neurological feat we have to go through in order to get to that type of rationalization. It's not like, and that's what he misses. He's like, just do it, you know, just fuck. It's like Nike. He's like Nike, just do it. And I'm over here like, no, bro, you gotta like fucking, there's a lot of shit you gotta do to get to that point. There's nuance that he misses from his channels, but like, because like, you know, that's my purpose, is to bring nuance to things. So if he were to bring nuance to things, then I wouldn't have a purpose. You know, that's a lot of us who, that's what I'm saying. I always say this, you guys are the New Earth leaders and you have so much to share for people, because you can teach people how the fuck you got out of that mindset. How did you get out of the mindset of you don't give a fuck anymore? You don't give a fuck what people have to say about you, what they think, you know, anything like that. Like, how did you get to a point where you can just teach and not allow other people's reactions to you to affect you? How do you get to that point? Well, you have to go against everything that you've ever been conditioned to believe and also conditioned to behave, which are two extremely difficult things that humans really struggle to do, clearly. And so it's like, that should also prove to you that you're right, because you see how other people are struggling to do it and you are doing it. For me specifically, you know, I'm doing all this shit. I'm doing all the things that we're supposed to do to change. And so as long as you're doing the things to change, then you're in the position of authority over whoever the fuck is in front of your face. You know, so that's been really nice for me lately. That's just like I never thought I'd get out of reactivity, guys. But I am really, really anchoring into it. Now, again, we're humans and it takes practice. And the only way you can practice is if you're presented with the opportunity of people coming up against you. You have to practice. You have to practice it. So then you have to have that contrast. And then you have to face it with your new rationalization. Which is why I've dealt with a lot of like comment, you know, that's why you get hate comments. It's for practice for when you go in public around these people. Like if you're online and you're sharing, it's also practice for your public role someday, because, you know, first you got to stop getting out of reactivity with people online, which, you know, a lot of people struggle with. And then you'll get out of reactivity with people in person. And that's like a beautiful gift that God is giving us, is that he's letting us practice with people online before we get to actually practice it in person. But again, you're going to have to face it in person someday as well. And that's going to be a struggle and a challenge until you get used to that. But if you can master it online, if you can master not reacting to hate comments or people shitting on you or, you know, desperately wanting people to understand you, like me, I have a huge misunderstanding wound. And so it deeply triggers me, right, when I'm misunderstood. And again, this is different than calling out oppression, though. There is a difference between hate comments and people who are actively dismissing your reality and sitting on a pious, righteous high horse of I know what the fuck I'm talking about and you don't, when I can prove that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about with Gia Prism and Sarah Treadwell. I'm telling you guys, that shit's, I don't know what the hell they did to me in a past life, bro, but there's something that irked me with this situation with them, because my heart, my mind, my soul won't let it go. And I think it's because I just can't stand hypocrites. I can't stand people who think they know better than other people and don't have any evidence or proof to back that up. And I do. And that's why I sit on my high horse now. I am on my fucking... It's funny because my best friend of 20 years, the last thing she said to me was, "You're on a high horse, Lauren." And turns out that I had the authority to be on my fucking high horse. I had the authority to be there. And so that's what you do. You get into your brain a position of authority, a position of leadership. That is what New Earth leaders are. They are in their authority of their truth, of their reality, of their mind, of what they believe is coming, of what they believe is possible for humans, of what, you know, that's what we're getting. And that's why if you're still in fear and negativity and you call it people NPCs or you call people reptilians or this type of shit, that's not New Earth leader qualities, because you're not trusting God then to take care of it. So you're not in a position of authority because you're not humanizing people and you're not creating a reality where everything is fair, just, and equal for everybody. You're creating a reality where these people are not humans and you can then harm them. That's what that leads to, is when you talk about people in a way that dehumanizes them. That's why I take that so seriously, because you might not harm them, but you are allowing other people who exist in other realities to see that you think it's okay to do that, and then those people can take that and harm other people. So it's like you have, that's why I'm like, you need to get out of that shit so bad if you want to be a New Earth leader, if you want to be in a position of authority. And you know, again, I can't help people that don't want to be leaders. I can't convince people of this. I just know my path and where I'm going now, and I want to help people get there. I want to help people get there. If this is what your heart desires, if you want to help lead the change of this planet, there are certain neural pathways and certain things that you have to believe and you have to become in order to do that. And it is the most challenging thing you could possibly do, because it goes against our biology system and it goes against, you know, our emotional system. So it's two systems that you're going, plus, you know, the outer, it's so much. And so that's the other thing about Bashar, is that he misses that nuance of our biological system. He bypasses our biological system and says, just get to this point. But there's a whole biological system, and there's years and years of conditioning that you have to get through to get to that point, which is why I always say he talks in Z. You know, he's like, here, get to Z if we're in the alphabet. And we're like, okay, we're like at, you know, WXY, you know, us people over here. Those people are in ABC. So it's like, there's like a whole thing that he misses, which again, the reason why he did that is so people could come in and fill in that purpose of, so that other people could have a purpose. His purpose is just to get this into your subconscious and your brain initially. Then there's this other wave of volunteers, like Dolores Cannon talks about, that is coming in to just add on to what he has to say. It's in addition to, it's, you know, it's adding the nuance to it. He's not necessarily wrong, but also there's a lot that goes into that, right? That's like what all this is getting us to come to the realization of. So sometimes it's hard to listen to him because it sounds like he's mean, but it's just that he's missing nuance. That's all it is.